Hello, this is Connie Berry Forrest, and I'm going to talk about what I would like to do in my future. Um, for starters, I have a dream to become an actress. I want to do that. I wanted to do that since I was a child. I dreamed of becoming an actress. I'd also like to move to Seattle. I'd like to have a really nice house to live in. I'd also like to have a really fun life where I'm never bored. I can't stand boredom. I'd also like to travel a lot. Hopefully, when I move to Seattle, if I ever get the chance, let's say, and if I have the resources to move, which I wish I did at this moment, but sometime in my future, it's already been decided for me that I've already decided this, that I want to move to Seattle, and I've had my mind set on this. It's just a disappointment that I don't have the resources for the time being. You're probably wondering why Seattle? Well, for one, I used to grow up in Washington State. Well, it's one of the places that I grew up in because I was born in Oxnard, California. But for a while, I lived in Seattle, and after that, I lived in Covington, Washington State, and I had some pretty fond memories. Let's just put it that way. But I'm also a very earthy, very rainy sort of individual, so that's the reason I want to move to Seattle. I love how beautifully green that place is. I think Seattle is a very pretty place. Um, Also, it's more open to the goth subculture. I live in Nebraska, and anything remotely goth doesn't last for very long. I mean, I'm even lucky that there are New Age stores in Nebraska State. Let's just put it that way. Like Next Millennium, for example, I like shopping there. That's a New Age store, basically. But if I had it my way, there would be some actual gothic stores, and not just the whole hot topics scenario, because that is all anyone really has available in Nebraska for anything. If you can really consider Hot Topics goth. I mean, yeah, generally I've shopped there before too, and every now and then I'll find something I really like, but it's a disappointment that we don't have any serious gothic stores in Nebraska, basically. I feel like I do not relate to Nebraska. I feel it's too flat and it's too boring living in Nebraska. I just don't like it here. I feel like I'm forced to live here. Like, it's not my choice. If I had it my way, like I said, I'd be moving to Seattle. If I had it my way, I would travel, see interesting new places, just have a really good time, just have lots of fun, basically. Like I said, I don't like being bored. This is what I have to deal with every day, so I have to come up with alternatives to help myself out with the boredom. And mostly what I do for fun to help myself out with my boredom issue was lately Sims 3. I have Sims games, right? And every now and then I will buy a new game and install it. Well, it's fun for a while. It gets boring after a while. And I occasionally read when I'm in the mood. The book I'm reading right now, which I highly recommend, even though I'm still in the process of reading it. But a lot of what I read out of it, it's a really good book. It's Beautiful Creatures. I feel that if you are a fan of Twilight, I'm sure you will like Beautiful Creatures even more, because it just seems like a Twilight fan would really like that book. But it's a pretty good book, let's just put it this way. And it's not really about vampires. Um, it's about people that are like witches, but they don't go by witch, they're just casters. And I don't want to say too much, because if you haven't read the book or seen the movie behind it, then you may not understand it, and I don't want to ruin it for you. basically. But like I said, I really enjoy beautiful creatures. And also, another series of books that I like Cheryl Kenyon's novels, the Dark Hunter series of books. Every chance I get, I will pick up a copy of those books and I will, like, literally read it, basically. The first one I read was about the leader of the Dark Hunters, Acheron. He goes by Ash for short. He's a Atlantean god of fate. And he's the final fate. His sisters are the three fates. Except for they're Greek in origin, I think, because that's what the fates are. But he also has this Karante demon by the name of Simi, who's like a daughter to him. He's raised her since she was the age of 4. Karantes, they don't age like we do. All right. It's kind of hard to explain, but they age a lot differently. They could be around for a very long time and still remain young for a very long time. So when Simi was approximately 4 in Karante years, um, basically she would be still considerably a lot older than a human being. So their aging process is a lot slower than ours, basically. I like the character Simi. She's very interesting to read about. When she talks about eating something, she goes into in-depth detail about it, and she's very fascinating. Basically, I really love how she talks about how she plans to eat something. But, you know, she's a very sweet girl from what I read about her. But she also doesn't like being told no. So, and often doesn't like mean people, so if someone's mean to her, she'll want to automatically eat them. And Acheron will tell her no. That's bad. He'll be like, bad Simi. I think Simi's a cute name. I'd like to get a cat, like a Bengal, and name it Simi. Female Bengal. I like Bengals because, like, there was one at a pet store that I saw once. I mean, I've seen them in magazines before that, but I don't think you really realize how beautiful these cats are until you actually see them in real life. I saw one that was actually a mother Bengal, and she was highly affectionate. Just a total sweetheart. Also, when you go to pet her and she plays with you, with her paw, instead of clawing you, she retracts her claws back. And if she bites you, it's just more of nibbling, really. It's not like hard like my cat. It's more of just a gentle love note, basically. Very gentle love note. Whereas she doesn't put very much pressure when she bites. Basically nibbles. So, I totally fell in love with that cat. I was like, it's a shame that she was no longer at that pet store, and of course that pet store closed. Businesses don't stay there very long in Fremont, Nebraska. They closed down pretty soon. And that's one thing to know about Fremont, Nebraska, is it's just not the best place to open up a business. Because a lot of people will lose their companies really quick. Basically, I don't know why that is, but I've just seen a lot of places shut down here in Fremont. Every now and then you get businesses that, you know, they open up and then they don't stay open for very long. So it's kind of like, yeah, just rather ridiculous because of that very reason that businesses don't stay for very long. I don't know. I don't know if that's because maybe they're charged a ridiculous amount of rent to keep their business running, or maybe they just don't get enough people to their business. And maybe that's why half of the businesses don't stay for very long in Fremont, Nebraska. But as far as things go, like I said, there's nothing really that interesting in Nebraska. If you can really consider anything fun, fascinating, whatever. So yeah. So like I said, if I had it my way, Nebraska wouldn't be so boring and so blah and so, yeah, needless to say, plain Jane. It just seems like everywhere you go, it's just like totally overly religious. No big deal if someone's like religious, but it's just, I mean, I feel I have to constantly be around my own surroundings, like I feel more at peace if I am surrounded by places that have new age stores or places that are very green and very earthy. I tend to enjoy that. And I just realize, I really don't like flat places either. I don't. I can't stand a place that's just too boring and dry and nature. Because that's why I'm such a rainy, green sort of individual. Basically. Yeah, and of course, then on top of it, I live in an apartment I'm not very happy with either because, well, it's annoying having neighbors. And I don't think people realize they should use their indoor voice, and then they're in the hallways talking, and when they talk, it doesn't sound like they're talking. It sounds like they're freaking screaming when they talk, or they're just raising their voice a little too loud for me to cope with, and freaking, I can be like a cat at times. I prefer being in a quiet atmosphere where I don't have people bugging me. So, with living in an apartment life, it's not my choice. If I had it my way, I'd own a house. I'd have the money and the resources for a home if I had it my way. But unfortunately, I don't. It's cheap living here, so, and I really don't have actual money to my name. I'm on disability from my ADD disorder and the fact that I'm bipolar. Basically. And it's a proven fact. I do have ADD disorder. Bad enough to the point I cannot sit through an interview without it going terribly wrong. Um, I lose focus and concentration so easily. It's like if there's the slightest noise, I can't focus sometimes. It's like sometimes worse than usual. Sometimes I can cope with it, but some days it's hard to tune all that out, basically, so it just becomes overwhelming. And I'm the kind of individual that if there's too much noise around me, I will get stressed out, and I am prone to migraines, headaches, basically. I've had this happen to me since childhood. I'd be in class, and if someone so much as whispered, it would bug me. Well, and then sometimes when people are doing their work in class, they like to talk out loud. I mean, think out loud. I'm a goofball. They like to think out loud, okay? So then you hear them, and it's like ADD is a pain in the ass because you can't really focus. And thus, I don't know if having headaches has anything to do with ADD disorder. But I do know that I've had ear infections since I was very young, and you'd think that would make me go deaf. I mean, I even had a doctor take a look at my left ear and ask me, can you hear fine in that ear? And I said, a little too good. And she said, well, that's a miracle. And I said, not really. Sometimes I wish I was deaf. Without having the loud, rude neighbors that don't shut up. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to hear them, basically. Oh, and thus, I just don't like the drama around here. It's ridiculous. I try to stay out of it as much as possible, but people will start rumors about you even if they don't know you. Alright? So, that said, around the time that I had lice, which not very many people like talking about that, but I had lice at one point. I got the hair treatment for it, and I didn't tell anybody in the apartment, but someone still managed to tell my landlord about this, and it's just ridiculous. basically. I wouldn't be so surprised if I got it from one of my neighbors because of how unclean and unsanitary they are, basically. And people here are often told that they have to shower. I mean, they stink so bad, basically, because they lack in hygiene. I mean, you literally walk into the lobby and that's all you can smell is BO, basically. I mean, the stink of body odor just is just too intense. It's disgusting. It'd be a nice thing to be able to live somewhere where I don't have that constant stink that I have to smell. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous. I mean, sometimes, some days I won't shower, but at least I make a habit of taking a shower. Because I don't have a bathtub, so I basically shower. But there are some people that will go for long periods of time without showering here in this apartment. And it's ridiculous. It's just, I mean, how could you manage that? I mean, how can you stand yourself if you, like, constantly stink like that? I don't know how they could cope with smelling bad. It's like other people obviously can't stand their nasty, gross smell, basically. It's ridiculous. That and another thing that I just don't like, when I really need my personal space and I'm feeling antisocial, everyone gets in your face. Everyone harasses you and bothers you in this apartment, and people have a bad habit of gawking. I really hate it. People don't mind their own business who live in this apartment complex. People are up in everybody's business, and people are passing just the most stupid rumors about each other. Seriously. So, yeah, that's just the insanity that I have to deal with. I don't like the negative atmosphere that I live in, but it's like I have no choice. I don't have my own money. It's like I'm not a breadwinner, okay? So, of course, I'm going to be stuck here, and I'm afraid I'm going to be stuck here for a very long time. I've lived here from 7 to 8 years. I'm really getting sick of it. Real tired of the bullshit here. Real tired of it. It gets really, really annoying quick. Basically. Some days are actually more reasonable and there's not so much insanity going on. Sometimes I would just like it for it to be peacefully quiet where all I can hear is myself, maybe my TV or my radio, or basically my laptop, and not have to constantly hear people in the hallways yapping. Seriously, they don't shut up. I mean, they are just totally ridiculous. And then there are some people that'll like be on their cell phone and be out in the hallway talking as loud as they can, and it's just ridiculous. If you're going to talk to somebody on the phone, go into your apartment. It's just as bad as being in the library and somebody is on the phone for like what seems like an hour. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but you think an adult should know better. But yet you have somebody who apparently can't get the hint that there are rules, and there's clearly a sign, and I've read this sign several times. If you so much as have your cell phone on and it is raining, basically a librarian will tell you to take that phone outside and talk to whoever is calling you. They even freak out if someone's texting you and in the library. So I don't know how this one person, occasional person who can be there and talk on their phone for that long, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, I narc on them because they deserve them. If you're going to be that ridiculous and you don't have respect for the rules in the library, then I'm going to narc on your ass. Just plain and simple. But, some people are just, They sit there and complain about it when they should know better. It's just ridiculous. That's why I'm glad I have a computer of my own now. I don't have to really go to the library and use their computer anymore. So that is quite a blessing, having a computer of my own. Whew. And that way I can do whatever I want to do with my computer. Pretty much. Like, if I want to get on the internet and check my emails, I don't have to be at the library, where you got rude, inconsiderate people. The children are bad too, occasionally, because, yeah. Now, need I say more? Well, this kid, right, sitting there singing to a rap song, and he has his headphones on, but he has the song cranked up as loud as he can get, ridiculously loud on that freaking headphone, and it's just ridiculous. It's like, really? And that's what basically seeming nothing but profanity about I'm a bitch, I'm a bitch. What the hell, man? Seriously, if I was that rude, my parents would kick my ass. Seriously, if I don't even say thanks or please, I get chewed out by my parents. But yet, kids these days, they're just run wild, and they have no discipline whatsoever. It's just ridiculous, because like way back in the day, basically when I was a kid, I'd get out and I'd do stuff. I wasn't, playing video games like other kids were. And, well, like the kids these days play video games notoriously. Maybe on a rare occasion I'd play a video game. Maybe even get on games on the computer when I was a kid. And then I would watch TV occasionally, but I got outside a lot, and I was active as a child. I'm not as active as an adult, but as a child I was very active. I was always out doing stuff, so occasionally watching TV, but for the most part, venturing outside, climbing up in the tree, climbing on the monkey bars, swinging on the swings in the backyard, playing out in the green field, which is kind of like a trail, basically, where there's a whole bunch of trees, but you can walk through this area, and we just refer to it as the green belt. But my yard was awesome. To me, at the time, as a kid, I thought it was really cool, because I not only had this really awesome tree I can climb into, I had a swing set. So I was very pleased with it. Swing set that had monkey bars, and we had swings, and I liked to swing on them. So, and basically, I enjoyed being outdoors. I still do. Like I said, I'm just not as active as an adult as I was as a child, basically. But I used to do a lot of really active things with my family, even. Like, we'd go out hiking. The time I was supposed to be in a play, right? My parents decided that I wouldn't be in the play. They wanted some quality time with me, because they felt that was more important than me being in a play. I was a bit upset about it, because I wanted to. I know I didn't know how to read at the time, so really, and I know I was in third grade, but I enjoyed being the princess and being up on stage as a little kid, even if I didn't have any lines, even if I could just sit there and look pretty. I enjoyed it, but my parents apparently thought it was more important to take me out to go hiking, basically, for that very day. So that's basically what we did. It wasn't boring hiking. It's actually kind of interesting when you go hiking. Just see all kinds of neat things. And, like I said, Washington State is very beautiful. We went up to the mountains and went hiking. basically. I assume it's like pretty close to the mountain area, but basically like Mount St. Helens or something like that. Pretty close to that area. I don't remember precisely where it was, but we went hiking. So they have really nice trails that you can go hiking from. And they had a river, and right above the river was a waterfall, and right above the waterfall there was a hotel. Just very nice scenery, basically. That's what I really enjoyed about hiking, seeing all the beautiful things I could see. I mean, granted, games are fun, but I think you have to get out and enjoy nature too, because that is fun. If you're not really enjoying nature, it's like, what's the point, you know? You know, even if it becomes more revolved around technology these days, even if kids are going to be more drawn to that, I want to raise my kids to be outdoors. Plus, it's healthier that way, because if they're constantly playing video games and watching TV, they'll get overweight pretty quick, and that's just not healthy for them. Just for the sake of not being healthy, you know what I mean? I mean, granted, I don't have much to talk about because I'm not very healthy, but at least I got out and did a lot as a kid. So, whew, whew. Anyway, I really can't think of anything else to talk about in this video. I will come back to you when I have the time, okay? Bye.